recognize God's light shining in the world, but also to take that light with us wherever we go. Once again, I forgot to replace the candle. Yeah, please, Shelley. Thank you. So while Shelley's repeating again before us, let us remember that we are gathered on lands that are wild, unceded territories of the Imam people. We gratefully and respectfully acknowledge this. We also respectfully acknowledge their traditions and spirituality, along with the spirituality and traditions of the Métis peoples with whom we share this land. Here, in this place, all are welcome. The dreamers, as well as the doubters. The hesitant and the daring. The warriors and the wanderers. Here in this place, all are welcome. Welcome to dream, to doubt, to seek comfort, to risk the unknown, to question, or simply to sit quietly in awe of the divine. Here in this place, all are welcome to come and worship. Now we do have so as we come together to worship, let us pray. There are times, divine one, when we all feel like our lives have been turned upside down. We struggle to understand why. There are times when life takes unexpected turns, and all our carefully laid plans and dreams come to nothing. We struggle to know where to turn next. There are times when we feel betrayed or alone. We struggle to hold on to hope. Grant us patience to wait. Open our eyes to recognize your leading in our lives. To listen to your gentle whisper when we least expect it. And give us courage to step out in faith, trusting in your leading, even when we cannot see the outcome. Amen. So today, we're going to be looking at the story of Joseph. There's so much in this story. And unfortunately, in our lecture for the next couple weeks, we only touch on two tiny parts of the story. I'm going to expand on that a little bit. But this week, the lectionary story talks about how Joseph ended up in slavery in Egypt. And then next week, we talk about the family reunion. But the one aspect of the story that we don't really spend a lot of time on, but a part of the story that has taken on very definite significance for me is the time that Joseph spent in prison. And I'm going to share a story with you today that, for me, has always been very powerful. It's a story of Corrie ten Boom, who was imprisoned in the concentration camp because her family had assisted some of the Jewish people. While she was there, she ended up in the barracks, where conditions were pretty grim. Bunks on which people were forced to sleep, were lined with hay and straw rather than mountains. And the hay would become hugely infested with weeds. So all the prisoners were converted to beavers. But Corrie ten Boom decided to try and start a Bible study in the barracks. They noticed that girls would tend to come into the barracks. So they were able to do this. And each night, they held Bible study, which inspired and strengthened so many of the people there. It wasn't until later that Corrie realized or was informed that the reason the guards didn't come into the barracks was because they were terrified that they might take fleas home to their family. So that night, when Corrie started Bible study, she started with a simple prayer. Thank God for fleas. So our scripture reading this morning takes a huge jump from the story that we had last week. Today we begin the story of Jacob's favorite son, Joseph. That story goes well the last 15 chapters of Genesis. But between the reunion of Esau and Jacob and the story of Joseph, several things happen. First, there's the story of the rape of Dinah. Shechem, son of the farmer, the chief of the region where Joseph or Jacob is settled, sees Dinah and falls madly in love with her, and they have sexual relations. Haran then comes to Jacob to agree on the bride price so that Shechem can marry Dinah. An agreement is reached. However, Simeon and Levi, two of Dinah's brothers, refuse to allow Dinah to marry an outsider. So they sneak into the village at night and murder all of the male adults in the village and take Dinah back. Jacob and his family immediately are forced to flee. So they end up traveling through Bethel and finally settling in Mamre, near Hebron, which is where Joseph and Esau, or Jacob and Esau, buried their father Isaac. Along the way in those travels, Rachel gives birth to Benjamin, the last of Jacob's sons, and the only full brother to Joseph. There's also the story of the time when Reuben, Jacob's eldest son, has sexual intercourse with Bilhah, who's one of his father's concubines. But after that is where we pick up the story. Jacob is finally settled in the land of his fathers. Jacob lavishes all of his love and affection on Joseph, the son of his beloved Rachel, whom he has lost. He even presents Joseph with a magnificent coat that is far more lavish than anything that would be sensible, and certainly anything that he offered to any of his other sons. Presented bills among Joseph's brothers. And it's complicated when Joseph begins to have extraordinary dreams in which his brothers bow down to him. Finally, in frustration, his brothers take matters into their own hands and sell Joseph into slavery in Egypt. This is where our lectionary today takes us. However, I want to continue that story a little bit. Joseph is sold to Potiphar, who is the influential commander in the king's forces. authorizes programs to become manager of Potiphar's entire estate. But Potiphar's wife takes a fancy to young Joseph, and when Joseph refuses her advances, she accuses him of rape. Joseph is thrown into jail, but again, he rises quickly to a position of authority. While there, he encounters two other prisoners who also have strange dreams. Joseph interprets those dreams which both come true. Sometime later, Pharaoh himself has strange dreams, and one of the former prisoners remembers how Joseph interpreted the dream, and Joseph is brought to Pharaoh. And that is where we pick up the story for the second half of the reading this morning.
One day, when Joseph's brothers had gone to Shechem to take care of their father's flock, Jacob said to Joseph, I want you to go to Shechem, where your brothers are taking care of the flock. They saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted against him and decided to kill him. They said to one another, here comes that dreamer. Come on now, let's kill him and throw his body into one of the dry wells. We can say that a wild animal killed him. Then we will see what becomes of his dreams. Reuben heard them and tried to save Joseph. Let's not kill him, he said. Just throw him into this well in the wilderness, but don't hurt him. He said this time to save him from them and send them back to his father. When Joseph brought his brothers, they ripped off his long robe with full sleeves. Then they took him and threw him into the well, which was dry. While they were eating, they suddenly saw a group of Ishmaelites traveling from Gilead to Egypt. Their camels were loaded with spices and resins. Judah said to his brothers, all we gained by killing our brother and covering up the murder, let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. Then we won't have to hurt him after all. He is our brother, our own flesh and blood. His brothers agreed, and when some midnight traders came by, the brothers pulled Joseph out of the well and sold him for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt. When Reuben came back to the well and found that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes in sorrow. He returned to the brothers and said, the boy is not there. What am I going to do? Then they killed the goat and dipped Joseph's robe in its blood. They took the robe to the father and said, we found this. Does it belong to your son? He recognized it and said, yes, it is his. Some wild animal has killed him. My son Joseph has been torn to pieces. Jacob tore his clothes in sorrow, put on sackcloth. He mourned for his son a long time. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted and said, I will go down to the world of the dead, still mourning for my son. So he continued to mourn for his son Joseph. Meanwhile, in Egypt, the Midianites had sold Joseph to Potiphar, one of the king's officers who was captain of the palace guard. Now, in Genesis, after 2 years had passed, the king of Egypt dreamed that he was standing by the Nile River when 7 cows, fat and sleek, came up out of the river and began to feed on the grass. Then some other cows came up. They were thin and bony. They came and stood by the other cows on the river bank, and the thin cows ate up the fat cows. Then the king woke up. He fell asleep again and had another dream. 7 heads of grain, full and white, growing on the stalk, and 7 other heads of grain struck thin and scorched by the desert wind, and the heads of grain swallowed whole ones. The king woke up, realized he had dreamed. In the morning, he was worried, so he sent for all the magicians and wise men and beasts. He told them of his dreams, but no one would explain them to him. Then the lion steward said to him, I must confess today that I have done wrong. We were angry with the chief baker and me. The house of captain. One night each was had a dream, and the dreams had different meanings. A young Hebrew was there with us, slave of the captain of the guard. We told him of our dreams, and he interpreted them for us. They determined just as he said. You restored me to my position and executed the baker. You came sent to Joseph, and he was immediately brought from prison. After he shaved and changed his clothes, he entered the king's presence. The king said to him, I have had a dream, and no one can explain it. I have been told that you interpret dreams, Joseph answered. I cannot permit God will give a faithful interpretation. Joseph said to the king, the 2 dreams mean the same thing. God has told you he is going to do. The 7 bad counts are 7 years, and the 7 full heads of grain are also 7 years. They have the same meaning. The 7 bad counts which came up later, and the 7 heads of grain scorched by the desert are 7 years of famine. It is just as I told you. God is going to do. There will be 7 years of great plenty in all the land of Egypt. After that, there will be 7 years of famine in all the land of Egypt. And all the good years should be forgotten, because the famine will ruin the country. The time of plenty will be entirely forgotten, because the famine troubles will be so terrible. The repetition of the 3 means that the matter is fixed by God, and that he will make it happen in the near future. Now, you should choose some man with wisdom and insight and put in charge of the country. You must also appoint other officials and take a fifth of the crops during the 7 years of plenty. Order them to collect all the food during the good years of their coming, and give them authority to store up grain in the cities and gardens. The food will be a reserve supply for the country during the 7 years of famine, which are going to come on Egypt. In this way, the people will not starve. The king and his officials approved this plan, and he said to them, we will never find a better man than Joseph, a man who has God's spirit in him. The king said to Joseph, God has shown you all this, so it's obvious that you have greater wisdom and insight than anyone else. I will put you in charge of my country. All my people will obey your words. Your authority will be second only to mine.
So how do you remember seeing musicals? Anybody? Really? Oh, yeah, I only saw this within the last year. I have not seen it either, but we all know the story. It is a very, very rich story of us, Joseph. And it certainly takes liberties with the story. But it gives an overview of Joseph's life up to today, where he and his family are reunited in Egypt. As with all stories in the Bible, however, there's a great deal beneath the surface that doesn't often get explored. We do not know how old Joseph was when his family returned to Canaan. We know, according to the story, He was born either at the end of the 14 years that Jacob served Laban in order to do Rachel, or sometime early in the following 6 years when Jacob continued to work for Laban. This would mean that Joseph was still a young child when his family moved to Canaan. The next time we hear about Joseph, he's 17 years old. But a number of things happened in the intervening years. During that time, Benjamin, Joseph's only full-blood brother, is born, and his mother Rachel dies in childbirth. Both these events must have had a huge impact on Joseph, but we only speculate about that. What we are told is that by the time Joseph was 17, he was clearly treated very different from his older brothers. Jacob had gifted him with a lavish coat that symbolized that favoritism. It wouldn't have been enough for his brothers to resent him, but we're also told that Joseph brought bad reports to his father of what his brothers were doing. Turns out Joseph was also a bit of a tattletale. All this seems to come to a head when Joseph begins to have extraordinary dreams. He sees his brothers symbolized first by sheets of wheat and then by stars bowing down before Joseph. For his brothers, this is the last straw. So one day, when Joseph was sent by his father to check up on his brothers decided to kill Joseph by throwing him into a dry well where they intend to leave him to die. But while they're having lunch, a group of Ishmaelites on their way to Egypt just happened to come by, and the brothers decided to avoid the messiness of murder by selling Joseph into slavery. And that is how Joseph, the son of Jacob, ended up in Egypt. For the most part, despite being a slave, Joseph's time in Egypt was not as horrible as we might think, because he quickly rose to a power position of manager in Potiphar's state. He would probably have lived in relative comfort and would have been given considerable freedom. That situation changes rapidly when Joseph is thrown into prison. It's actually rather astonishing that Joseph is imprisoned rather than being executed, which would have been the normal sentence for having physical relationships with his master's wife, regardless of whether it was consensual or not. In fact, prison sentences in general were very rare. Convictions that did not carry a death sentence usually resulted in a fine, a public flogging, or possibly even the loss of a limb. The fact that Joseph was sentenced to prison may indicate that Potiphar did not completely believe his wife's accusations. But regardless, Joseph is thrown into prison, where he once again quickly rises to a position of authority. Although the reason for his quick rise to power is never stated, it's possible that the reason in both the jail and Potiphar's house was his literacy. It would have been unusual for someone with Joseph's background to have been literate. But the fact that Jacob favored his son Joseph so much, and that it was clear that Joseph was not required to go into the fields and tend flocks with his brothers, may have indicated that he in fact received an advanced education that was denied to his brothers. If this is the case, his rapid rise to a position of authority would make sense. But regardless, his time in prison, although perhaps not as terrible as we might think, would still have been very difficult. Prison sentences did not come with a specific term and would only end when the prisoner was either freed by the person who had put him there in the first place or when he was executed. This is what happened to the cupbearer and baker whose dreams Joseph had interpreted correctly, one of whom was executed and the other who was set free. We are then told that it is 2 full years later that the cupbearer finally remembers Joseph and tells the Pharaoh about him. Joseph is taken from prison to the Pharaoh. Joseph correctly interprets the Pharaoh's dreams and once again quickly rises to a position of power. This time, second only to Pharaoh himself. And we know the rest of the story. Joseph goes on to save all of Egypt from the devastating famine, as well as saving his own family. We're also told that later on, Joseph himself tells his brothers that they are not responsible for sending him into slavery, but rather that they are simply fulfilling their part in God's plan. According to this understanding, it was God and not the brothers who wanted Joseph to end up slave. It was God and not Potiphar's wife who decided that Joseph would end up in prison, where he would encounter the cupbearer and the baker. And it was God whose eventual plan was that the Israelite people should end up slaves in Egypt. There are many people, myself included, who struggle with the concept of an all-powerful, all-knowing God who would inflict such pain and suffering and slavery on innocent people in order to fulfill some great cosmic plan. This image challenges not only our concept of a kind and loving God, but also our concept of free will. The idea that we are not simply puppets whose strings are being controlled by a supernatural being. But if we do not see the story of Jacob or Joseph as something that is all planned out in advance, where does that leave us? What if we question the idea that God is the instigator of everything that happens to us? Does the God we believe in not only condone, but plan for slavery? Does God approve the kind of hatred that would cause brothers to want to kill one another? Or for that matter, the kind of parental favoritism that sparks such hatred? If we do not believe this, how do we find God in the midst of a story of such injustice and suffering? For me, the answer lies not in what happened to Joseph, but in how he responded. When Joseph was sold into slavery, he had a choice of how he could react. He could choose to focus on the hurt and betrayal he had suffered and do nothing. In that case, he would probably have made a very poor slave and would likely have spent the rest of his life in misery. Instead, he simply did When asked to interpret the dreams of others, he could have refused. After all, wasn't it his dreams that had gotten him into trouble in the first place? But instead, Joseph chooses to do the very best he can in very difficult circumstances. He chooses to find opportunities to help others, even when those others are his owner, his jailers, or his fellow prisoners. Despite everything, Joseph never stopped believing that the God he worshipped would somehow bring about something good from all that was happening. For me, that is key. I don't believe that God makes horrible things happen to people in order to test them or in order to fulfill some cosmic plan which we cannot understand. I do not believe that God makes bad things happen in order to bring about good. But I do believe that if we're willing to do the best we can in our lives and follow where we feel we are being led, then the divine presence that I call can bring about some good from even the worst situation. That is what Joseph did. And for me, that is why he is a powerful example of faith and trust. Joseph continued to do the very best he could, no matter what the situation, regardless of how difficult, how depressing, how painful, how unjust, and how hopeless a situation appeared. Joseph refused to give in. I'm not sure. I'm sure it wasn't easy for him. And I'm not sure that I could have done as well in such a situation. So many horrible things happened to him. Yet Joseph held out his hope, his dignity, his faith. I don't know if I could have avoided him to hopelessness, to despair, in the face of such pain and betrayal. But I do believe that in my own life, I am constantly challenged to hold on to my own hope and dignity and faith in whatever situation may come my way. I know that there are times I don't do that very well. But in those times when I am able to hold tightly to my faith, it is much easier to hold on to hope and to act with faith, dignity, and grace. May God help us all to do that. Amen. And let us take a moment now, in the silence of our own hearts, to remember all those named in our prayer jar. All those who are on our hearts and minds today. And all those whose deepest needs and longings are known only to God.
Touch the earth. Our gifts, our missions are to support the work of healing fund as we walk together in a path of reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. We've learned that intergenerational trauma runs deep. The legacy of Indian residential schools confirmed to affect every generation as Indigenous parents struggle to educate their children in the ways of their people. In the spring of 2018, 6 youth traveled from Winnipeg to Sage King First Nation in Port Alexander, Manitoba, to attend Touch the Earth cultural retreat at the world-renowned Turtle Lodge. At the 3-day retreat, elders taught the youth of the traditional teachings to reconnect them with their culture, educating young people about their history, culture, and land. Had them participate in a sweat lodge, ceremonies and activities under the guidance of elders is an incredible way to help youth gain confidence and leadership skills. They also helped to produce a documentary video of the retreat and talk about their experiences with community members and children. Josephine Kate writes, I learned so much to behold in my eyes. I want to change myself for the better. I want to know who I am. I want to learn my language. I want to start dancing more. I really want to connect with my culture more. I never realized how much I need to heal and some time to myself. We are thankful that through our gifts we can offer opportunities for healing to young people experiencing intergenerational trauma. If missions or healing is already a regular part of your life, thank you so much. If you have not given, please join me in mission service giving, a regular part of your life of faith. Loving our neighbor is at the heart of our mission and service.
Let us pray. Divine mystery, we do not understand why things sometimes happen the way they do. We do not understand why some people seem to have nothing but good happen to them, while others seem to constantly suffer. We do not understand why good people are forced to deal with horrible situations, while others who seem to think only of themselves and cause unending pain and hardship for others seem to get away with anything. There are times we can get frustrated, angry, and overwhelmed by the injustice that seems to be abounding in our world. But when we focus on these things, we can lose sight of the hope and promise of our faith. It is in these difficult and trying times, my one, that we most need to hold on to your promise of love and care. When we are feeling most vulnerable, be with us. When those around us suffer, help us to support and care for them. When injustice and hatred seem to overcome what is right, give us the courage to stand up and speak out. When the world seems to be turned upside down by war, by disasters, both natural and man-made, by illness and disease, by hatred and prejudice, by situations beyond our control or understanding. Remind us that we may not be able to fix everything, but what we can do is to hold on to your promise, to trust in your love, and to believe that even in the worst situations, you can bring about new hope, new assurance, and new possibilities. We offer you this and all our prayers, in faith and in hope, trusting